Hey, 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 welcome back to the Dream Design Podcast. As promised, I am back with the incredible Jordan Duvall. She is a brand alchemist. If you've never heard of what that is, it's because she invented it. And she is going to be here with us in just a moment to talk about all about what that is. So welcome, Jordan, to the show.
Hello, welcome. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so glad to have you. So you guys, you have heard me probably in the course of either in my group or in the podcast gush about my giant up level and the way that I've really brought my brand, to the next level. And Jordan is a huge part of that. So I want to say that before you even start listening to her, I want you to just get a feel for who this human being is. She's amazing. She's incredible. And she's going to drop so much knowledge on us today, and I'm going to basically back up all of it because it's all good. So that being said, Jordan, as I was telling you before we started recording, obviously nobody grows up and says, hey, I want to be, a brand alchemist when I grow up. So tell us, first of all, kind of where did you start out? Like what were you doing, like your real life job before you created this dream job for yourself? And what made you choose this as a path?
Absolutely. Well, my background is entertainment advertising. So that means that I spent 20 some years designing movie and TV posters living in Los Angeles and, got to work on some really exciting projects like Shrek and Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones and like all these shows that you know and love. I got to work on them, come up with concepts for the posters, work on the billboards, and really just got to work with the best of the best talent in LA at some of the top agencies. And loved it, right? It was challenging for sure. Agency life definitely has a standard, which I still, hold up to this day in my business. And, but once I became a mom, it was just like my priorities changed. And I was like, I really would rather leave LA and raise my family not here, right? I grew up as a young girl in LA and I know the trials and tribulations of being a girl in a big city, especially Los Angeles. And I was like, I just don't want that for my daughter. And I want to live somewhere that just values family over work. And so my husband and I spent a long time trying to figure out, well, if we're going to leave LA, what does that look like? And so we looked, in Seattle and Oregon, and just nothing was really panning out. And at the end of the day, it was like, well, I design movie posters. I mean, where else can you do that besides LA? Really, nowhere unless I move to New York, and that's not happening anytime soon. My husband likes trees, so we're not moving to New York. And so uh, I had all these skills, right? I've been a photographer, a makeup artist. I've studied social media incessantly since I have an online business, no marketing, branding, all of these things. And I, in the past, had created a jewelry business and a photography business, and they just never took off the way that I wanted to. And I was just like, you know what? I want to do it right this time, and I need help, right? I kind of like let go of my ego of having to figure it out on my own. And I hired a business coach, and I was just like, I know all of these things. What do I do with them so that I can like have a business that I is portable and I can do anywhere? And so I launched my first program, and this was like almost 5 years ago now. And like literally anything I could possibly teach you was inside of this program. And over time, I just started to refine what I wanted to share, the journey I wanted to take people on. And as part of my program, with my, years of an art director at an agency and having been a photographer and a makeup artist, I really understood how to take a concept and flesh that out and bring it to life and tell a team what is the concept and get everyone on the same page so everyone's working as like a synergistic unified group. And that just really is like what I love to do more than anything else. And just over time, as I was working with clients, I was like, I just want to like be known for this, right? Because I think as an entrepreneur, a lot of your journey is like learning how to say no to things and like yes to the one thing. And I had a conversation with a guy. He's like, "What's your one thing?" I was like, "This is my one thing." So I just, it was really a journey of stepping into that one thing. And I mean, again, I do offer other things, but that's really what I lead with.
I love that. And I think that's so true. Brand alchemy is something that you don't realize you need until you've had it. And then you're just like, oh my gosh, like how did I ever deal with this? Because I think, and this is me speaking from experience, not everybody's going to feel the same way, but for me, it was all about really kind of figuring out like, what did I stand for? And like,
Mhm.
who did I want to show up as? And recognizing that it was okay to have like a persona, right? Like the person that I am when I'm like, eating chocolate chip pancakes at 2:00 in the morning from Waffle House. And it's got like, I've got chocolate chips dripping down my face and my husband's like, you're a hot mess, is very different than the person that I'm going to be when I go live in my community. Right. And that's okay. And that doesn't make it less authentic. So for me, just going through the process, and, I'm going to talk to you guys about how you can do this in a minute, or we're both going to, we're going to tell you all the ways. But being able to go through that brand alchemy process and really kind of look at what were those differentiators? What makes Amy Lee's brand different than somebody else's brand? And what do I bring authentically that at the same time has some power behind it, right? And so I think that was really the big takeaway for me, was just like, you can be you, but you can be a powerful, confident you who has a plan. Like, you can have a plan. It's okay to have a plan. So that being said, tell us a little bit kind of about like, what is it like? Why does someone hire you? Like, why? I mean, I can tell you all the reasons I did, but like,
Right.
why? Like, someone's got a business. Like, what makes you different from like, I'm just going to go to Canva and I'm going to pick 6 colors and I'm going to throw something together. Like, what is that like depth that you feel like you bring for someone to work with you instead?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think really it comes down to soul and meaning, because as you've seen when you go through the process is, I'm certified as a master NLP practitioner, and I am like an avid fan of mind science, hypnosis, NLP, all of those things. And when I got certified as an NLP practitioner, like my brain literally just like exploded. And for about 2 years, I was like, I don't even know how to like process this. This is so deep and insane. And I know this has so much to do with like creation in general, and especially the work that I'm doing in branding. And I, have been doing this work for almost 5 years now in this capacity. And I started to notice when I was working with clients that, when I had an earlier iteration of my program, I had this one client and she showed up the first day and it was like, she was in the dark and she was like wearing pajamas and just like kind of, hunched over and like not really talking. And then every week that we went through this process, she showed up a little bit brighter. Her lights were on. She started wearing makeup. She started wearing cuter outfits. And like by the last day, right at the time, it was an iteration of what I do now. It had like 10 weeks later, she showed up. She was like wearing this gorgeous shirt, full makeup. She was like, oh, this random guy just approached me in a bar and asked me out on a date. And I was like, huh, I think there's more going on here than like branding, because I'm teaching her branding, but it was through the discovery of who she is, what makes her different, and feeling so confident and like rooted in who she was, and knowing that it was okay and she didn't have to be someone else. She didn't have to compare herself. That just like really ignited her confidence. And it spread into so many areas of her life, right? She had a better relationship with money, a better relationship with herself. She was going out on dates. And so that was kind of my clue of like, something else is going on here. And I've just seen, after working with hundreds of women, that there really is something. It's like people come in and they work with me, especially when it's in the group context. And it's like everyone's on the same plane. And then as they go through the brand alchemy method inside my magnetic brand program, they just really peel away the layers of like, this is me and I'm different and I love being me. And this is what me looks and feels like. And this is how I want to present myself to the world. And everybody looks and feels so different. And it's like I'm looking at all these images coming through of the last cohort, and it's like, not even one is even close to being similar. Even if people have like, there might be someone who does RTT and then another person, or someone who does health coaching, or someone who's a lawyer, or someone's a real estate agent, and nobody is alike, because they truly ignite their understanding of who they are and how to express that verbally and visually.
It's so true. And, even just, I'm just racking my brain over like who was in the cohort with me, and some of them do very similar things, and we have completely different colors, and we have completely different depth of texture, and we have completely different, like, like ethos and what we stand for. And it's so powerful to see, the individuality that you don't even realize you get to claim. And I think that's really, where the power is. But, rewinding a little bit from magnetic brand, because that's certainly like the pinnacle of all, but not everybody's necessarily going to be in a position to do that, right? Like, and not everybody's really there yet, especially if they're brand new in their business. But you have, what really kind of opened me up to everything was your Unleash Your Soul Brand Challenge, which you're running. It started on the 14th and it's running through the 18th. But that's really where you kind of like lit a fire for me to be like, wait a second, this is different stuff. These are things that I didn't know. And I remember when I went through it, I was messaging everybody I knew, like, oh my gosh, you need to go watch this. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that one of the reasons why you made it evergreen, like why we could go back and watch it, was because I was like, Jordan, I have people that need to watch this. And you were like, okay, hold on, let me put it in something so they could, because I was so afraid we were going to lose access to it. And I had like 25 people come back and just be like, oh my gosh, like this is unreal. So you're running that again right now. You're actually in the process of that. Why don't you tell us a little bit kind of about what that is, and I'll throw it on the screen for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think that especially in the world of branding, there's so much of it is visual, right? And it's like I can talk about the concepts conceptually, but it's hard to really wrap your brain around it. So I really wanted to introduce people to all the things that go into this multi-prong, multi-layered effect, really, that is, decoding your brand essence and really figuring out what makes you different, right? So I really like walk you through all of these different layers. And so, the first day we talk about how to make a powerful first impression, because you have like what, a fraction of a millisecond, somebody, and like knowing how the subconscious mind works, as soon as somebody sees you, whether it's Instagram, website, wherever, and even if sometimes it's physically in person, right, or on a video, they make an immediate assumption about you, right? Like they make a meaning about who you are and how they see you in the world. And if you're not aware of that and like out there, right, you can never control that. But if you have an understanding of who you are and what you want to project out into the world, you can at least create a more aligned perception of who you are, right? And so teaching you and like really creating an awareness around that. And then we go into decoding your brand essence, because, back to your earlier question, I think that's one of the things that really makes my work different, is like I really get into what is the essence, right? Like what is that like feeling, the energetics, and I layer all these different, modalities of energetics into your branding, because it's your brand is energy, right? It's a feeling. And so really understanding what that means and what that looks like, and then getting into the art of brand personality. And this is a little bit what we talked about, of just like everybody being different, because you could have, let's just say, all things being equal, two business coaches, and one of them's like really bold and sassy, and one of them's like really boho and flowy. And so really owning the personality of who you are and what you want to evoke in your brand is going to shift how you show up, like embodiment wise, your messaging, your visuals, all of that. And so really, again, like understanding the concept behind it, and then understanding how that affects your visuals and what that looks like. And then I go into the undiscovered attraction principle. And this is something that I picked up on working with so many clients, is, I can't tell you how many like avatar things and like, what is your mission and all of these things, right? All those kind of beginning things that you do. And I really started to notice that there was a piece of this magnetism and attraction that people weren't really talking about and they didn't really understand. And I was just like, I want people to become aware of this, and they can, tap into it as much as they want to, because it really does make a big difference when you do have that alignment with the inner and the outer. And when you have that friction and that disconnect and that fractioning, it shows up as like, people not wanting to pay your rates, getting clients that you don't like, people ignoring your posts, right? So when you do activate this undiscovered attraction principle, it's like people reach out to you, they want to know you, there's better engagement. And then going into the hidden layer of meaning, and really getting into the energetics of branding and what that looks like, and the embodiment piece. And so, it really is a different take on branding. And like, believe me, I'm all about fonts and typefaces and colors and beautiful websites and all that stuff. I totally get all that. But I really want you to understand kind of what goes on behind it. What are the deep layers of meaning that when you learn how to tap into that, you really can like amplify your brand and bring that magnetism to life.
Right, absolutely. And those pieces absolutely matter, but you're right. Like if you're showing up and you're like, you've got this desperation, scarcity energy underneath everything, like it or not, people are going to feel that. And I'll tell you, for me, when I got back my images from my photographer, Katya, when I looked at that one picture, and if you guys know me at all, you know the picture I'm talking about, I looked into the eyes of that woman and I was like, OMG. Like it was like, guess what? You're on notice. You can never not show up at this level again. Like that's it. Like you're done. Like you have up leveled and like that's it. And I remember when you were, when you were first, because she's phenomenal in the DMs, you guys. Like if you get into DMs with her, you're signing up for the program because she's gonna sell you. But so, you said to me, like, what would make this a success for you? And I remember saying, like, if I could see next level me, if I could get a visual of her and see her, then I know that I would have no choice but to step into her. And you're like, oh girl, yeah, that's happening. You're like, $1 million brand, here you come. And I'm like, okay, Jordan, like, you're good, but I don't know if you're that good. And then I looked at this blue dress picture and I was just like, I've been ruined for every photographer and every brand designer and everything, because this is just it. Like, I couldn't believe it. And then I'm like, well, maybe that's just me, maybe, but no, I was getting DMs, I was getting messages, I was getting all these things. I was telling you before we started, I had people sharing my posts, like as if I was like an influencer. I'm like, what is even going on right now? So guys, don't underestimate the value of just this freebie, this free class that she's teaching is worth its weight in gold. And like I said, good luck getting to the end without whipping out your credit card, because that did not happen. Well, debit cards, but that did not happen for me. It won't happen for you either.
Well, I remember when you were sending me sneak peeks and you're like, oh my gosh, what do you think? And you're like, I don't know about you, but I'm dying. I was like, my husband just walked in right now and I was like literally panting. I was like, my husband was like, are you okay? I was like, you are not gonna believe. And he was like, okay. And I like literally was like bouncing around for like 3 days, like, these images are so beautiful. Oh my gosh, look at she's embodying this next level. So it's just so exciting. And like, so, I mean, like I watch from afar, right? Because, just like along with you, it's like I have a sense of knowing, but then it's like watching it transpire and just watching like your posts just like explode. Like there's like comment on baby comment and comment, sharing. And I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah, it's crazy. But again, it just speaks to how much energy is in your visuals. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Like, well, let us prove it to you, right? Like, come take this class and let Jordan prove to you just how many, words a picture is worth, and really dollars. I mean, let's just get down to brass tacks. Like, really being able to have people be like, I want to be in her energy. Like, that's what's happening to me now. It's like, yeah. Someone told me, I signed up for your program. I don't really know what we're doing. I just wanted to work with you.
That's amazing.
I was like, okay. I mean, it's going to be amazing. Like, we are going to do stuff, but okay, that's fine. And my web designer looked at those pictures and was just like,
I know. Well, she must have been panting too. I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to freak out when she sees that.
She was dying. Everyone was on life support after this photo shoot, for real. It was crazy. It was so good. Okay, so let's take another step back. Like, let's say that somebody like just wants to like get a slice of you. I'm sure you have like a delicious little freebie for them, right? Something that they could just sink their teeth into before they even get into this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you're like super new or you're just kind of like skeptical or whatever it is, you can go to my Instagram.
There it is.
Or my Facebook. But I would recommend downloading the Brand Essence Guide, because I really give you like a overview of the concepts that I'm talking about. Because, it may be something new for you, right? Like I didn't understand this. I mean, I had a sense of it, but I didn't truly understand it. And I was able to articulate it and I put it in this guide, and I have a lot of examples, and there's like some worksheets in there and stuff like that. So that's a really good place to start. If you're just like, I'm curious, I want to know more.
And you have a group.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can come join the party at the Facebook group. So, my Soul Brand Society, it's super fun. Like lots of, like I said, we have the event going on right now, and, it's just a really fun community of sharing. And I think that a piece of branding that people don't really talk about is, like you were saying, Amy Lee, it's embodiment, right? It's like really embodying this version of you, and like, who is this next iteration of you? And, also kind of with a sidecar of, there's nothing wrong with where you are now, right? Like we all are where we are because that's where we are. And like being able to be truly seen by yourself first. And I think that's really the key in the work that I do, is like giving you the tools and resources and support and safe environment to truly see yourself first, so that others can see you, and to have the language to be able to communicate who you are, so that your team, like you can go to your web designer and be like, this is what I want. She totally gets it, right? Like your team, like everyone's on the same page. And so, that's a really good place to come and just, I share a lot of tips, resources, do lives, have interviews with really fun experts. So that's a super fun place to be as well.
Yeah, you bring up a good point too, because this informs like your whole brand. Like, yes, photography, 1,000,000%, but also like how you show up on your lives and like how like heaven forbid anybody makes business cards anymore, right? Like maybe like it shows up on that. It shows up on how you go on other people's lives, or you do, summits, or you do live things. Like there's a whole like underneath the iceberg of brand, like you said, alchemy. Really, that's the only way to say it, that goes into it, and really embodying that and knowing. I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but I'll tell you guys one tiny thing, like just knowing that the whole concept of my brand was glamorous possibility. Like that, I wasn't quite the like luxe, like everything's white and fluffy, but I had components of that in my brand. And so bringing that to the Amy Lee level and kind of calibrating it was like, I get to have this. And also, and Jordan will tell you this too, like I have this thing about my big Jewish nose, right? And she thinks it's hilarious because she's like, hello.
I have one too.
I know. but it's a hang up I have, And so for me, I was really nervous to step into, because as I was coming to this place of recognizing, being a psychic and having these claircognizance and all this, but I felt like my image was very severe because I've got this dark hair and this light skin and this big honking nose. And I was really afraid to step into that ethereal kind of goddess thing. Like, that's just going to look like I'm a pig in lipstick. And Jordan was like, no, like there's a way to do it for Amy Lee. And when we got the pictures back, to see the difference in me not having to be like this Jackie O, like stamped out character, and instead get to embody the ethereal goddess in my own way, I just didn't think that was possible. And now I can't unsee her.
Yeah.
And so that's really what, I mean, I keep saying that was really the thing. There were lots of things, okay, guys?
Yeah,
like there were lots of things. But yeah, so definitely check that out, you guys. Make sure that you check out the challenge. It is underway now, but you can go back and binge them, and you'll want to. And then you never know, there might be something that pops up right after that. Like maybe, I don't know, tomorrow, there might be something exciting to go look at. So you never know. But her brand, her group is awesome. I think it's called what, like Soul
Brand Society for Bougie Woo Women Entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So her word is bougie woo, mine's woo chic, but it's kind of the same concept of like, you get to be your glamorous high level self and also step into the embodiment of, your higher self, your purpose, your woo woo and all that good stuff. So
yeah. Well, I think too, you were like, I don't know how to bring out like my more woo side. Right. Yeah. And I think that there's a lot, like, especially because like because I'm certified in NLP, I tend to attract like mind science nerds, RTT therapists, hypnotherapists, healers, psychics, like, I get real estate agents and lawyers and therapists too, but there's definitely like an undercurrent of people that understand the concept of energy and integrate that in their work in some way. And it is an esoteric concept, right? It's hard to be like, how do I was talking to someone the other day and they're like, well, how do I convey this? And I was like, you can. I was like, there is a way. I'm like, yeah, I need to peel away layers to kind of figure out what that looks and feels like for you. But it's absolutely possible. And so if you're out there and you're like feeling frustrated and you're not showing up because who you are inside is not reflected outside, and you're just not showing up and people aren't seeing you and you're not getting the results that you want, I just want to be the beacon of light and just say there is hope, right? There is a way to truly understand how to articulate and communicate your vision and align the inside and the outside so that you are magnetic and it does become easy and you do have those amazing clients and opportunities come to you.
So true. It's so true. And one of the things like you were saying about the photography and stuff, like you don't realize it, but you can absolutely convey confidence. You can convey competence. You can convey that you're someone that they can trust in images. And I understood that until I saw us doing it. And it's like, okay, we're going to put this in the picture because this represents this for you. And just seeing that all put together in, you know, in the depth of field or whatever was just like, oh my gosh, like I can convey fun, I can convey competence, I can convey the woo-woo and the psychic energy and not have it look like a caricature, you know,
Totally.
and that was really powerful. But anyway, we could sit here and talk about this for like,
I know. We're streaming all day long.
I know. It's like a telethon. But any final thoughts or anything you want to leave these guys with before we let you go today?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would say final thoughts would be if you are just listening to this, jump in on the Unleash Your Soul Brands live event. It's going to be amazing. And again, you know, there's juicy, bite-sized training, so you can always binge watch, and you know, you'll have some time to catch up. So absolutely jump in on that. And if you're listening to this and you have any questions, you know, feel free to reach out to me on all the socials. I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Ignite Your Soul Brands. And you know, I would just be where you are now, and also know that if you're sitting there feeling that level of frustration that you're not where you want to be, and that you know you see and feel the possibility in other people, but how do you do that for yourself, that you absolutely can you know, step into that limitless version of yourself and your business.
I love that. Such wise words from such an incredibly talented person. Thank you so much for being here with us today, Jordan. Good luck with the rest of your with your challenge and with your launch, although I don't think you really need it.
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you. It's just been such a pleasure to watch you blossom and expand and attract and be so magnetic, which, you know, has always been there, and now it's just amplified. So it's so wonderful to witness.
Look out, world.
Yeah, exactly. Buckle up, guys.
I know, right? Thanks, Jordan. Well, that'll do it this week for the Dream Design Podcast with Amy Lee. Until next week, may you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be safe, and may you be at peace. Namaste.